think I would move away if I get a good job.
Yes.
Forget what I wanted.
No, I'm happy here. Fine. Enjoying the work. Make the friends. Okay.
No, I wouldn't move away. I'm satisfied where I am. I've served the apprenticeship. I've got a good job. Satisfied. Know all the friends. Know all the pubs. It's the best life.
Although they wish to stay, they know the prospects for Ferryhill Station are not good.
My village is in Category D. I don't really know about it. And what it's down to is that there's no mines to be built here. They will bring nothing in, no new houses, nothing. We just sort of thing when people leave them and go away to different pits such as miners, such as people who can't get a job, move away to Nottingham, such places. They just buy the houses up and then that's it. And there's no more houses to be built.
No more houses to be built. This is the essence of the Category D policy, a major feature of Durham's post-war settlement plan. Ferryhill Station is a D village, and its further decline is inevitable. The term Category D is no longer used, but the policy remains. Ferryhill Station is beginning a process of decline, which we saw nearing its conclusion in East Howell. In being scheduled for eventual extinction, Ferryhill Station is not alone. There are over 100 such villages in Durham which are planned for clearance. This may take half a century, but the intention is that they will disappear. D villages are part of a strategic settlement plan, which was the planner's answer to the stark economic problems of the county. They hoped to stem population decline and encourage new industry by concentrating resources into selected growth points. In human terms, this means transferring people from many old mining villages to the so-called regrouping centres. One of these is within a mile of Ferryhill Station. Within sight of this declining D village, new housing is being built in the neighbouring village of Ferryhill. Ferryhill has a population of 10,000 and being somewhat larger than many mining settlements, acts as a natural focus. For this reason, it is designated as a major regrouping centre. It has grown up mostly early in this century and, unlike surrounding villages, continues to expand. Thus, much of its housing stock is relatively new. A good deal of it is in the form of council housing estates. These have a markedly different appearance from the old colliery rows. With its future secure and expansion encouraged by the planning authority, private housing developments have further increased the size of the town. New housing is much needed, especially when one considers the age of much of the existing housing stock in the county. But the provision of secure jobs is even more important. Although all the surrounding pits have closed, Ferryhill has good access to surrounding industrial areas. One of these is Spennymoor. New factories have been built, often with government assistance. These are usually sited on industrial estates along main roads. The plan for Spennymoor involves comprehensive development. This includes setting up industrial estates linked by a new road network. New industry will, it is hoped, provide jobs for the regrouped population who are being accommodated in major new housing schemes. The provision of housing and jobs together are essential for the area's future. One of the most ambitious of the new housing schemes is the Bessemer Park development. This consists of 1,000 dwellings in a high-density complex of blocks which surround a communal open space. Here, one of the new planned communities is taking shape. Latimer Park is only one of the post-war developments in County Durham. Another, Peterlee, was one of the first new towns to be built in Britain. Its striking architecture attempts to create a radically different landscape from the colliery rows which have become the image of Durham's mining communities. As these villages physically disappear, so the traditional way of life which they represented may also be doomed.
The big meeting, they call it, in County Durham. The one day in the year when the miners of the county take over Durham City. The American ambassador is among the distinguished guests who watch the miners come to town. And not only the miners, but their families and neighbors. In fact, some villages have left hardly anybody at home. Any pit that hasn't its own band hires one to escort the banner to the racecourse where the speeches are made. Tony Greenwood, on one of the platforms, holds an interested audience, which includes Hugh Gaitskell. But above all, this is a family outing, and the youngsters in particular have the time of their lives. The big meeting is a grand opportunity for making new friends.
The miners of Wheatley Hill, with their banners and their band, are marching to Durham for the big meeting. And from all other parts of the county, too. They're coming in their thousands to listen to well-known speakers and to have a good time on this, their big day out. No motor cars or carts are allowed in the streets of Durham. The miners take complete possession of the city. On the Durham racecourse, there must be well over 100,000 people. And so once again the Durham miners have shown their solidarity by turning up in force for the gala.
In the third fatal railway disaster in 6 days, 12 people lost their lives and 20 others were injured. The London to Newcastle Express sleeper smashed into some derailed wagons 5 miles from Ferry Hill Station, County Durham. These shots were taken while victims were still trapped in the wreckage. Among passengers who escaped with a shaking was the Home Secretary, Mr. Shooter Reed. Interviewed after the crash, he said, I don't know how anyone escaped alive from the first 3 coaches. Bringing the death roll up to 34, the Ferry Hill crash rounds off a black week for Britain's railways.